business meeting. Morning, guys. And what we're going to do is Father is going to lead us in prayer and opening up. And then we will, I'm also, instead of reading, I'll take it up. We'll go with the prayer first. Go ahead.
Please rise. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, we pray all together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Stare nebeski, utešitelju duše istine, koji svuda i sve ispunjavaš, riznice dobara i davaoče života, dođi i useli se u nas. I očisti nas od svake nečistote i spasi blagi duše naše. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and to ages of ages. Amen. Lord, have mercy, Lord, have mercy, Lord, have mercy. God is with us through his grace and love for mankind, always now and ever, and to ages of ages. Amen. Srećan rad.
Okay, we passed out a copy of the report package. It starts with the agenda for today's meeting, and then the reports are attached. It has last week's date on it because we moved it forward. We're going to take it a little bit out of order. And before we have Milica read the minutes from last year's assembly, I'm going to ask Father to give his report now, and he'll go through that and entertain any questions. His schedule is so overloaded and needs to move on. So if you can, so he'll take any questions following his presentation. All right, Father, thank you.
So I was actually given my obligations in the diocese, I was thinking that I would be traveling, because originally our annual assembly was scheduled for the previous week. And so I recorded my presentation because I couldn't be with you. We had an ordination in Guča, and I correctly assumed that internet in Guča is really not, wouldn't support Zoom meetings, so I recorded everything. So what we will do now, and I suggest that we do it that way, let's play this recording, what I recorded for the previous Sunday, because it will last for about half an hour. I have to actually, in my report, I have to go through a lot, and you will see. And my wife tells me that when I record things, that goes much faster. But if I speak, it goes 2 or 3 times longer. So perhaps it's in times of saving everyone time, we can watch this presentation, and it is actually available online. If you miss something, please feel free to go online to my YouTube channel, and you can find this presentation there. It's the exact same thing. And feel free to ask questions, whatever you did not ask today. And if you think of something tomorrow or in 2 weeks' time, just give me a call. You all have my cell phone number, and I will be happy to talk to you and answer to the best of my ability the questions that you have. So, thank you.
Dear faithful parishioners, dear friends, allow me to begin by thanking God first and foremost for his many blessings with which he showered us this past year. We as a parish have thrived despite of COVID and many restrictions that we had. But I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to every single one of you who have supported our church and our parish through these couple of very difficult years. And may God bless you through his grace and through the prayers and intercessions of our patron saint, Saint Luke. Every year, I will begin by listing the metrics of our parish this past year from December 6th of 2020 through December 6th of 2021. We had 13 baptisms, which is one more than last year. We had one marriage, which is one less than last year. We had no conversions, but we do have one catechumen, that is the person who is preparing to become Orthodox. And we had 4 deaths, which is 2 less than this last year.
Maybe you want to give a personal report.
Liturgical life is the most important aspect of parish life, and that is why I pay special attention to the services, church services. We have increased the number of services this last year by 3. When I say services, I actually mean divine liturgies. So from December 6th last year to December 5th to today, we had 141 liturgical days, which means that 141 liturgies were served in our church, which is quite extraordinary. And thank God that we could do that. Of course, the number of liturgies varies from year to year. Sometimes a certain saint on whose day a liturgy is served falls on a Sunday when we have, which is a liturgical day in its own right. So this year, the calendar has allowed us to serve 141 liturgies. I have to mention here that one divine liturgy can be divine liturgies can be served only once a day. So this is I'm very pleased that we were able to serve these liturgies. God has blessed us with good health, and we could serve these liturgies. A special thanks to altar servers, and among them I would like to single out Subdeacon Damon Ware, without whose help and faithful attendance to all of these liturgies, it would be impossible, because a priest cannot serve liturgy by himself. There has to be at least one other person. And also Diane is present here at every Vesper service, because on the eve of the liturgies we serve Vespers. So in the past year, out of 365 days, we've had 282 services, 141 liturgies, and 141 Vesper services. Before many of our divine liturgies on Sundays and on feast days, we read oil hours. And thank you to Subdeacon Dan Buya and our friend Vladislav from the Russian Church, who is actually becoming our parishioner as well, for reading the oil hours. We served memorial services as appropriate, Akafist hymns and canons of supplication, which is a special church service, shorter than Akafist, but it is directed to God, to Mother of God, or a particular saint in times of need. So to summarize, I am especially pleased that we were able to serve a full liturgical cycle as prescribed by the Vatican of the Orthodox Church, even during the restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we have exponentially increased the number of services to provide spiritual support to our parishioners during the time of this pandemic. As you know, you have seen and followed us on the internet. Our services were organized and broadcast. This has enabled us to widen our pastoral outreach during the time of the pandemic, because as last year, this year as well, people all over the world tuned into our services. And our average online attendance is several hundred people, we do reach about 37,000 people a month, on a good month, with our services through shares of in online media. So people who like our posts on Facebook, their friends see and they like in turn, and so it spreads, and we reach about 37,000 people, especially during the Paschal time. So to summarize, I am personally very pleased by the state of our liturgical life. And for that, I would like to thank our altar service subdeacons Mirka Bazarević and Dejan Bujak, and all the helpers, Igor Miletić, Nanko Crnović, Đuro Šilić, Nikola Janković, Nikola Dragačevac, Petar Granić, Jevan Miletić, Nikola Bucal. With regards to church events, this past year we had 47 notable events in our parish, the majority of which was recorded on our Flickr photo page. And besides our church services and Slava and Saint Sava celebrations, we had children Rubica retreat, and thank you to my wife Jelena for organizing it. We had workshops for children, blessings of newly acquired items to church, parish meals, social hours, social events, parish festivals, book launches, lectures. I'm sure that when the time comes, Milan, John, and Mark will speak more about the festival. But I would also like to thank Snežana and Nena Đokić for organizing two parish zabavas this past year, which were very, very successful, not only in the financial sense, but all of these social events help the parish come together, especially after a grueling, difficult, challenging year of isolation. So I'm grateful to Mark, Anna Lojanica, and Maja Lojanica, who organized, first and foremost, they were actually the Fest committee. I'm first and foremost grateful to them for organizing these two Fests, and also all our volunteers. And I'm also grateful to Đokić, who organized two Zabavas, and all the volunteers as well. As I mentioned, this past year, God has blessed us in such a way that we not only survive, we thrive. And we have started in April our church beautification project. As you remember, I gave a talk. The talk is available online on our website. And please, if you haven't had a chance to see it, go and get informed about the plans of our church beautification project. But so far, I'm pleased to announce that this year, our church furniture that was ordered a couple of years ago has finally arrived. And for that, we owe special thanks to Lutin Vichkovic, who traveled to Serbia to expedite the arrival of church furniture. And actually, he himself went with his cousin, and they packed the church furniture in such a way that everything arrived in perfect order. So all the church furniture that you see here is actually, it was donated by Pančići, Serbian Cultural Center of Pančići, and also the family of Aleksandar Dukic and Jelena Tasić, and we are very, very grateful to them. I have announced that before. But so this church furniture is actually their gift, and through Milutin's help and efforts, they arrived finally. All of you who have contributed in the past to the altar fund, thank you for that. And we have used the funds money collected in that fund to acquire a few much needed items for the altar. This is the new blessing cross that you see on the left. Next to it is a which is used on festival vespers, great festival services. On the eve of the feast, that is a major feast for the church. Those feasts that are marked with red letters in the church calendar, we serve great vespers, and for that we bless loaves, 5 loaves of bread, especially the church bread. And this is the vessel that is used for those blessings. We also acquired a round eagle carpet, which has liturgical significance. And just lately, we ordered the cover, table cover, embroidered, especially in the workshop that we made embroidery for the relics of St. Basil the Vostok, and with the same patterns. And that's for our newly acquired altar blessing table. So thank you for contributing to the altar fund, and God bless you. From the same altar fund, we have also acquired a new liturgical set, the pattern of the chalice for the divine liturgies. This was much needed because in the past few years, we have increased the number of names that we commemorate the divine liturgies. So in preparation for the liturgy, the priest takes small, tiny particles of bread commemorating names, individual names. And each one of those has to be placed on the pattern, which is this liturgical plate on the left-hand side you can see. So in the past, we were using a much smaller pattern, and it was difficult to hold all the crumbs, the particles of the bread. We call those crumbs, we call particles, to keep them on the pattern. So this larger pattern enables us to commemorate all the names. We were also blessed by God, and Saint George, Saint Beatrice, Saint Theodora, Saint Thecla, Saint Alexius, man of God, Saint Xenia, Saint Petersburg, and Saint Petersburg and Russia, to actually get their relics, and through the kindness of Frederick Monelli and Nico, we acquired relics of these great saints, and they are available for veneration on major feasts and the feast days of these saints. So thank you to Frederick Monelli and Nico for bringing us these relics, the relics of these saints, so that we may feel tangible, their tangible presence among us. As part of our church beautification project, we have also acquired the fresco Christ the Pantocrator. It was donated by the family of the late Theodore and Sarah Milkovich to our church, and we are very, very grateful to them for this great gift. So the fresco is in our dome, and we are hoping to, in due time, to increase the number of frescoes in our church and to paint with frescoes also our entire church, starting with the ceiling and then the north wall and then the rest of the church. The next item on our church beautification project is the iconostasis, which we have ordered from Slavko Tomic in Serbia. It is going to be in the same style of new church furniture, carved with decorations, Serbian and Orthodox Christian motifs, And the iconostasis will be made out of oak, solid oak. And Slavko Tomic is the same woodcarver who made the existing church furniture for us. The completion is expected in May of next year. And we're very grateful to the family of Alexander Dukic and Jelena Tasic for donating this iconostasis in its entirety. Both the woodwork and the icons are donated by them. I have to apologize to them. I have to mention this. I have to apologize to them for mentioning their names because they specifically mentioned that they would not like to be mentioned publicly and recognized publicly. But one cannot hide, as the Bible says, one cannot hide a city that stands on a hilltop. So we are very grateful to them. And please forgive me, Alexander and Yana, but I had to say this out of profound gratitude that I personally give for your kind and most generous gift. We are also looking forward to welcoming the icon of the Mother of God, Rutica, which the exact copy of that, Hilandar is Serbian monastery of Mount Athos, and the icon was procured by Saint Sava for the Serbian people, which is kept in Hilandar monastery. And we are hoping to have the exact copy to be made for us in Monastery Hilandar. We are hoping to bring it back, bring it here to our church. And the icon is paid for by goodwill donations of many of our parishioners. A group of pilgrims will travel to Mount Athos, may take possession of the icon and bring it here. So we are praying to God and to the Mother of God to vouchsafe us this great blessing of her presence through her icon among themselves, children of Saint Sava here at St. Luke's Church. What is interesting is the fact that this icon, the Rutica, it's actually a very old, it's an ancient icon. It goes at least back to the 7th century, at the time of Saint John of Damascus. This icon was his family icon. And the third hand, silver hand, you see in the left bottom corner, was added by him to the icon as a sign of gratitude for a healing that he received from Mother of God praying in front of this icon. But the icon was made after the icon or the Vitria, painted by Saint Luke himself. So that's the connection between our church and the Church of Saint Luke and this icon. And we look forward to welcoming this icon, this wonderworking icon, to our church. As part of our church beautification project, a throne, a wooden stand, the icon of Rutica, will be made again by Slavko Tomic. It is going to be very similar to what you see here. This is a stand, the throne for the icon in Yugachanica Monastery near Chicago. But the throne of the Mother of God that we are going to get is going to be in the same style of the church furniture and made of solid oak so that it can go well with the iconostasis and the church furniture. The expected date of completion is May 2022. Again, this was donated by the family of Alexander Dukic and Jelena Tasic. God bless them for that. As part of our church beautification project, we are hoping to acquire a new altar table, which will be carved out of Philip white stone. And it will be a rectangular plaque on an octagonal pedestal. And these are the drawings for the altar table. It will be completed by May 2022, and it has been done. It's been donated by Subdeacon Dan William. God bless him and his family for this most generous gift to our parish. So all of these things we're hoping to order by May 2022, because due to the size of the agnosticis, we will have to rent a container, shipping container of about 40 feet. And since that is significant, there is a significant cost associated with the transportation due to this rental of a large container. We are hoping to fill it with all our church needs at the same time, so that we don't have to pay shipping many times over. As I mentioned, I would let Milan, John, Mark talk about the social events, but I would like to mention two extraordinary cultural events that took place in our parish this past year, and that is the book launch of Dr. Branko Kashinovic's latest publication. It's called Memorable Encounters, and we are very, very grateful to him and to God, actually, for having him as our parishioner here. We are very proud of him, and we hope that all his future publications will be also presented in our parish. And most recently, we had a wonderful lecture by our parishioner Maria Zana Nokata Stoika on Father George Palciu, a Romanian confessor priest who is currently undergoing the process of canonization. Maria Zana is a spiritual child, and personally, and her experiences and her knowledge of Father George's life with our parishioners. So God bless her for that. We learned a lot. With regards to our parish communication, we rely mostly on our website, but there are also a number of different social platforms that we are using, and they are all integral. This year, hosting was once again donated by Jan Chitovich. We are very grateful to him. Website is a very important aspect of our parish communication. And so far, since the launch of the website in April of 2018, we've had 117,032 visitors. We're also using MailChimp, which is an email distribution platform, and the subscription for MailChimp is donated by our trusteeship. It is fully automated and it is automatically uploaded. And we also have automatic email subscription form added to our website. So if you go to our website and go to contact us, there is a form where you can add your email address. You will be added to the MailChimp list. So far, our MailChimp list contains 673 subscribers, which is 19 less than last year, because people keep unsubscribing. MailChimp is, of course, since we have 673 subscribers, MailChimp is something that we need to keep, although it seems that email as a form of communication is becoming less and less popular. But still, because probably people are getting too many emails, but still, we're trying to catch as much attention as we can of our parishioners, so email is still a valuable form of communication. But perhaps Facebook is our most successful form of communication. Facebook pages, as you know, regularly updated. It is fully integrated with the website. So whatever is published on the website automatically is published on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. So audience on Facebook, our audience is exponentially growing. And as I mentioned before, we reach, on a good month, we reach up to 37,000 people. So we keep increasing the following on Facebook. So when I came here on December 3rd, 2017, we had 955 followers. And on November 30th, we had 3,090 followers. So Facebook seems to be a very popular platform and very successful. We also try to document our parish events by taking photographs, and all those are stored on Flickr, available for our parishioners to browse. Subscription for the Flickr account is covered by trusteeship. So Flickr is a photo storage platform, and it is connected to our church website. You can easily browse all our events in the past year that are recorded, which we have photographs on Flickr. Our Twitter and Instagram platforms accounts are fully functional and they are integrated with our parish website. There is no subscription for these. This past year, since the increased use of the internet, we had a need to update our PA system to make our internet ministry more successful. And Slobodan Droca was absolutely instrumental in that effort. So thank you to Slobodan, who has dedicated a great number of hours working on repairing and improving our PA and internet broadcast systems. And I would like to use this opportunity to express our gratitude to Slobodan Droca and his company, who have donated IT equipment and labor to our church worth tens of thousands of dollars this past year alone. God bless him and his family for that, and we kindly ask him to extend our gratitude to his company as well. All our events in our parish depend on our volunteers, and I would like to use this opportunity as well to thank all the parish organizations, parish ministries, who are contributing to the success of our community. And I would like to begin by thanking the Circle of Serving Sisters, their President Nina Lejanica, for their continuous generous support of our parish and for the beautification and upkeep of our church. Special thanks to our choir, Soviet Singing Society Vera, and the director of Aliana Branch and President Pauline Gizic. We have a wonderful choir, and we are grateful to them for their beautiful and uplifting activities in worship. We thank all singers for their tremendous dedication, especially during the time of the pandemic, when it was at personal peril that they came to beautify our liturgies. We owe gratitude to Pauline Gizic for her tenure as the president of our choir, as she will step down to pursue personal obligations, and may God reward her for her service to our church and the choir. Also, thank you to our Sunday school religious education program, to our teaching staff for adapting to online teaching when necessary, and also for coming back and holding improved in-person classes. And thank you thank you to them, to our teaching staff, for their love for our children and our church. I would like to especially thank Nessa Elwell for working with our Sunday school program for the past 12 years at least, and the last of which were in the capacity of our Sunday school coordinator. Nessa is moving on to, she stepped down as the coordinator, and due to personal obligations, she is teaching in Fairfax, in one of the Fairfax County high schools. God bless her, and we wish her much success there. Thank you to Joyce Fisting for stepping up and taking charge of the religious education of our children. Joyce Fisting is our Sunday school coordinator now. And once again, thank you to teachers, to parents, to our students for recognizing the importance of religious education for the future of our parish, and for their personal sacrifice in making this program a success. It's very important that we as Serbs retain our identity, and serving School Nikola Tesla is very helpful for that. So thank you to our teachers and coordinators for working on preserving our language, culture, and identity. And thank you to our teachers, parents, and students for their active participation in life of our parish. Many social events are organized and helped greatly by the staff, students, and parents of our studying school. We owe a huge thank you to Rada Božić, our choreographer of Popular Group Fellow, for adapting and finding a way to keep our children engaged even during the pandemic. It is truly a great joy to see our children dance, and we are hoping that also our adult group will start practicing soon as well. We miss them. Thank you to Reader John Lapalin for heading our bookstore ministry. We can see constantly the improvement in our stock, and our bookstores meets the needs, most of the needs of our parishioners, and I'm grateful to John for adapting this past year. Whenever someone needed something in particular, John makes sure that they get that. So thank you, John, for this important ministry for our church. It is my sincere hope that our traditional Sunday parish luncheon will be renewed, since we provide a valuable opportunity to our parishioners to meet and socialize following the divine liturgy on Sundays. Our parish luncheons are first and foremost fellowship opportunity, and they promote understanding between parishioners. When people sit and break bread together, they can talk, they come to a better understanding. And we do not see this as some kind of a parish fundraiser only. There is a much more important aspect of parish functions, and that is fellowship. At last, but not the least, I would like to thank all of you for your dedication, for your tireless help and assistance, generous donations, charge service, and with choir, kitchen staff, festival organizers, and about all Mark Rashic and Anna Rights to organize the festival, to Nena Djokic to organize the Jurkas, to all of you who contributed with your God-given gifts and talents to success of our parish this past year. May God bless all of you, every one of you, for your many acts of kindness and mercy to the church.
Well, I guess Joanna was right. This was much shorter than what I would do ordinarily. So, yes. Are there any questions?
How far are we covered with the fundraising for?
Well, John will talk about that, but I think we are really, really close. Well, here's the thing. I think we have met the amount that, but we need a little bit of cushion because of the inflation and because we are not really sure how much transfer will cost. We just don't know that. So we need to figure in just a bit more. But John, am I right in stating that we met the $42,000? Yes.
But we exceeded.
We exceeded, yes. So now the question is, how much are we going to spend on the transfer? Transportation can be really expensive because here's the thing, it is going to be, it's a very valuable icon and it's going to be blessed. So we can't really just ship it ordinarily, just put it in cargo somewhere. It has to be treated as a relic, as a holy relic. So we need to find a way. I'm actually talking to a person who used to work. I thought he was still working, but he used to work for United Airlines. He lives in Chicago, and he promised that he will ask around to see what the options are. Because the icon is about 90 centimeters, that's like 3 feet wide and about 4 feet tall. So we are trying to see what the best way is to transport the icon and still honor its sanctity. No questions, but this is fantastic. So that was, I think this is the quickest report that I gave in years. Yes.
And I want to actually just say something. Thank you to the trusteeship and everyone. So the trusteeship is actually open to everyone. You can come and contribute. You can ask Milan how you can help. But Milan, thank you very much for everything that you do. And let me just say this. In the past couple of months, we had several different social things, events and social things going on. And Milan, he became recently better. But he didn't spare himself. He actually worked very, very much. And we are talking about tough physical work. So Milan, God bless you for that, and may God reward you. Thank you. So thank you. And everyone in the trusteeship, we have a few people here. So if you have a gift and you think you can help, join one of our committees and help out, because we need all of it. God bless you and thank you. If you think of a question, please feel free to send me an email.
Thank you, Father, and God bless you. And he certainly blessed this parish by bringing you to us. Thank you. All right, we'll move on ahead. And we're taking some things out of order, but the next thing we'll proceed now with Milica Tasic reading the excerpts from the minutes from last year's meeting. Yes. You're going to summarize, or do you want, if you would like to bypass it, if everyone, they are out there for you to read. Nope. Oh no, they're not. They've been on the website.
Let me make a motion that we pass this,
Okay, and move along.
Moving on, yes.
Okay. Does anyone dare? Is there a negative report? All right, I will take that as a unanimous decision to. That's it. This was your chance to see. But we'll let you have we'll give you the microphone afterwards. Okay. All right, so, and that moves on now up to my report, which in print is fairly large or long, not as many screens, but a number of paragraphs. And I'm not going to repeat them because Father did such a superb job in his report and covered many of the things that are in mine. And I don't want to overdo it, and I don't want to take too much of your time. And it is available online for you to read. And if you have any questions on this report or on anything that we're doing throughout the year, please don't hesitate to ask. Grab me at church after church on Sundays. I guess you have my email address, phone number, whatever. Just let me know, because we're here to all work together. This is our family. And we want to do what is best for everyone, and so that we can keep our family happy and growing and to be very healthy. So 2021, kind of, we started off a little different than we did in 2020, which we were having services outside, liturgies outside, limited number of people inside the parish and everything, inside the building. So it started to turn the corner and we opened things up. And so with this increased optimism, we celebrated Christmas, a very lovely Christmas services. And unfortunately, we were not able to have our Saint Saba celebration in person. It was done via Zoom, but everybody rallied to do what needed to be done to keep everyone connected. And that's extremely valuable. And Father, of course, with his Zoom meetings and presentations. And I want to emphasize also, there hasn't been a lot of call on it, but the Parish Assistance Committee is still available. So if you know of someone who needs some assistance, and we don't have to have COVID, it can be at any time. If they need something or prescription or down, let us know, and because we want to be there to help them. In early spring, we initiated the church beautification, as Father talked about. So that's another big thing. In June, we had a Serb Fest, which was different than the one we had in the fall, which was just a drive-through. We had kind of a hybrid, moved into where we had places for people to sit. The bar was set up, so there was an opportunity to socialize with each other. So, and it brought in some extra money for us, and it increased the fellowship of the parish and all of those neighbors and others that came to visit us. The real turning point was really Labor Day. People came back from vacations. Church, we started coming back to church. We started with the Sunday school, began their classes. We started off with the Sunday school and Serbian school picnic, welcome back picnics. The Kola celebrated their Slava. They had a Slava banquet or luncheon. Afterwards, we took advantage of the beautiful weather and we're outside. So we took care of everything on that. And then went into October. Our Serb Fest was a 2-day Serb Fest. We were back pretty much into high gear. It was a very social success and a very financial success. And we squeezed in 2 Zerkas also. So that was the big thing. And then at the end of the month, on the day of the feast day of St. Luke, October 31st, we celebrated our Slava. We had the honor of having His Grace serve liturgy for us. And we had a beautiful Slava luncheon here in our facility. A number of people stayed. We filled up all the tables and chairs, so it shows we're coming back. And people had an opportunity to enjoy a lovely Slava meal together in honor of St. Luke. And what's particularly important and what we were blessed with was that His Grace recognized Father Vasilia and elevated him to the rank of Prota. And we're very fortunate for this. I think Father Vasilia deserved it. He was most, entitled to this rank. He's young for it, and it just goes to show you, I mean, he is extra special. So we're blessed to have him, and also for him to be recognized by his grace in that manner. As Father mentioned, we did have a couple of other events after church. We had Branko Mikusinovic's book presentation, and we had Mariana Razana's presentation on Father George, the Father Confessor. Both were outstanding presentations, and we hope we can have some more. So Branko, write another book. Yeah, and we'll have you all set. We're trying to have some refreshments after church so that we can sit down and talk, whether it's coffee and just some light rolls or whatever, but something that keeps everybody here for a little bit and for however long. We continue with the committee structure on the board, which has worked very, very well. And on those committees, they look at the specific responsibilities and carrying out the various duties, like with the building and grounds. You see how everything is taken care of so beautifully, and Mark Rosovich is chairman of that committee. And everything gets done along those lines, and the planning for the ServFest events and everything. So the chapel committee and all of those things have been working out very well. So it's something that it's an efficient way of keeping of moving things along. Also, all of the auxiliary groups, Father announced all of those. They perform a very special function for the church. We're very fortunate to have them, and their dedication and hard work for our St. Luke parish is just is beyond compare. And I think the good Lord is another reason why the good Lord keeps giving us a wink and blesses us as we go forward, and we get stronger and in proceeding forward. We talk about the mailing list. Everything is online. So if you need to know, you want to see something right away, you want to, 2 a.m. when you can't sleep, want to check something out, there it is. Go check it out. We follow the same policies and procedures that were implemented back in 2011. We're also in full conformance of Article 26 of the Uniform Rules of the Church. I want to thank Dan for the work that he does with the candle business. There's a separate report in the report package, but we do have he keeps bringing it along and increasing. I can't overemphasize the importance of stewardship and taking, in contributing to the church, both financially and in using your talents to physically help. And through all of our different organizations, there is adequate room for people to step up. And if you think that there's something that we're not doing or would like to make a recommendation, please contact us. We will figure out a way to try to make things work and to benefit the parish. Again, as we said last year, and we continue to be committed to moving the parish forward so that one day the trusteeship will be replaced by an elected board. And the criteria for that is becoming financially stable and demonstrated support and performance by the parish. And this continues to increase. We do have some gaps. And John will talk about some of the things that we look at. Right now, we're probably in the best position ever financially, but we do have peaks and valleys. And we still not, we can sleep. There were sleepless nights in the past. Now we all sleep very sound. So from that standpoint, we're improving, and now we need to move that ahead beyond that. And I just encourage everyone to bring your families, tell your friends, and to, once COVID, everything, we're off of everything, participate in Sunday school, participate in Serbian school. Doesn't have to be one or the other. I think we're one family, and we should get the best out of all of those. The children's choir is a great place to get the kids to come up and join in, and someday be members of our church choir and beautify the liturgy. Anyways, so please look forward and encourage people to come and to attend. And one of the most important things I want to say is to thank Father Vasilia and his lovely wife, now Protanica, Jelena, for all that they've done for us since they've been here. We truly are blessed to have him. I know all the priests in our diocese and a majority of the priests throughout the country. And we have one of the best, absolutely the best. And we're fortunate, and we're growing through his leadership and pastoral guidance and moving forward, and everybody supporting him also, and not letting those efforts and talents be wasted. So we thank them. I thank all of you. I think we're on a great path. I've been here for 51 years, and the spirit of the parish, I think it couldn't be stronger, and I couldn't be more pleased and proud to be part of this. So thank you, everybody, and all the best. All right, the next one, we're going to bring John up, our treasurer, and who does a superb job. He does an outstanding job of managing the funds. So, John, thank you.
Thank you, Milane. Good afternoon, dear brothers and sisters. Thank you for being here today in this important event we do every year. You have in your packets, those who are here in person and those who are online, my full report, which includes a written summary, the balance sheet, the income and expense statements, and the diocesan budget. I'll hit a few high points, and then if you have further detailed questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you. So, as has been the theme here today, 2021 started off different than we're used to in this era of COVID, but luckily we were able to keep a grasp on things, keep up with our obligations, and get back to somewhat normal, somewhat being able to have capacity in church without being able to have liturgies without limits on capacity, being able to hold events. And that really did help us over the past year. And as also has been mentioned, we started our beautification project, which, every year, this is my third year as treasurer, there's always some surprise. There's always something that if you ask me at the beginning of the year, would I expect that it would result the way it did at the end of the year? Last year, it was COVID. Last year in April, if you asked me how I thought we were going to be in December, I was losing sleep, and thank God we ended up very well. This year, we started the beautification project in March, and thank God, by the grace of God, and only by the grace of God, and through the hard work of Father Vasilia and the generosity of all of you, and literally all of you, we've basically raised most of the funds that we need. If you would have asked me in March how long I thought this would have taken, I would have told you a few years. I didn't think that 9 months later, I would be standing here telling you that very soon our church will appear differently because we have the funds to do so. And that in itself is a magnificent accomplishment. No words can express just how I feel and how this will impact our church. So with that being said, there's really, now that we have the beautification project, there are two ways we have to look at income and expenses in terms as the budget, right? Beautification, those funds are, while they are part of the budget, and while they flow through the expenses and the income statements, they're used solely for the beautification project. So even though you'll see these numbers in the income and expense statement, in the written summary, I try to break it out for you. And so we have the first part of our income and expenses is the operational, right? That's the money that we use to basically keep our church operational, pay the mortgage, pay the utilities, pay our commitments. The second part is the beautification. That is money solely raised for the beautification fund and solely used for beautification projects. Once that money is received, whether it be online or in church, once a month I make a deposit into the newly opened, between last year and this year, newly opened church beautification savings account at John Marshall Bank, where those funds reside until they're needed to pay for expenses. So that money, once it comes in, is set aside in a separate account and only used once we have expenses. So it is truly separate. Now, looking at operational income, really, there are three categories. One is sort of the church worship. These are things, tassa, candles, basically dated week to week, Sunday sorts of things. This is our main income category, if you will. We brought in $182,590.37. Our second category is the donations category. So these are donations in memory of, in honor of, for Slavas, building fund donations. So any sort of donation activity outside of the regular TASA monthly donation sort of thing. And that in that category, we saw $103,020.77. And then social events and fundraising. So these are things like Surfest, the Zhorka, Slava, our church Slava, any sort of event that we have. In this category, we saw $97,575.17 of income. So total operational income for our fiscal year 2021, mind you, this does not include the beautification numbers, $383,186.31. I'll make a few notes. One is that is slightly higher than in fiscal year 2020. However, we did have our Serbfest and our Zhorka, which were pretty profitable. So what that does mean is that donation income was slightly down. However, we did supplement that through hosting our events. Looking at the expenses, we have, again, thinking just operational at this point, we have a lot of, bless you. We have four main categories. The mortgage, this is our biggest expense. This is our top priority each month. Total mortgage for the past 12-month period, $156,495.72. Administrative, building and grounds and maintenance costs, this is our second biggest category. And as you see, it's almost as much as the mortgage alone, $150,725.52. Other event-related expenses, $46,346.85. And then finally, liturgical needs, church supplies, candles, $21,279.09. The liturgical needs, a lot of those were taken from funds that were donated specifically for the altar fund. So when donations come in for the altar fund, they are again put to the altar fund account. Candles are self-sustaining. As you know, you buy a candle, we have to pay for those candles. So that in itself works. So if you look at our total operational expenses for the year, $374,847.18. So that is a lot higher than in 2020. However, that is primarily driven by the fact that we had Serbfest, we had our Zhorkas, we are using our facility more, right? It costs money to keep the lights on, to use the water, to use the stoves. That's fine, we expect that. It is in the income and expense or profit and loss statement, as it's now called within the QuickBooks, but I do want to call out the net, or I do actually want to just go through very briefly our Surfest and Zhorka income, because I want to make the point of how successful these events are for us. For Surfest, we had in June 1 day and in October 2 days, Across both of those events, we brought in $85,954.31 with expenses of $39,641.48. So this leaves a profit of ServFest, a net profit of $46,312.83. You know, this is great because when we first started ServFest, we didn't have these large net margins. And through learning, through growing our events, we're now able to actually see considerable profits of these events. And they're important for our community to make sure we can continue to keep our doors open. The Jordakas, we had one in September and one in October. These events surprised me both times. They were very well attended and they are very cheap to throw. They are the best, quickest, easiest fundraiser. Kudos to Nena for such a brilliant idea and to all the Colo ladies who helped make this happen. Income for these two events, $9,953.94. Expenses, $2,683.47. So two Jordakas, 2 nights of work with a little bit of additional prep time gave our church $7,270.47. So again, the Jordakas are another easy and wonderful way. And thank you to everybody who made all of these events possible. Now let's move from the operational side of the budget to the beautification project. I know it's been talked about ad nauseum, and I'll continue to talk about it even a little more, but this is a good thing. Again, all of these donations that come to the beautification, whether they're made online, whether they're made by writing a check and putting beautification in the memo, or whether it's loose cash in the icon stand, those go 100% into the beautification account and will be used 100% for expenses related to this project. So far, from March, when we started this project, until November 30th, the end of our fiscal year, we raised $92,197.17 for this project. So far, we've only spent $20,148.06. That's expected because we will see most of these expenses hit next year. Phase 1 includes many things. Most of these Father Vasily talked about in his presentation in March, but the Pantocrator, which now adorns our church, the new iconostas, which is being carved by hand in Serbia as we speak, the icon of the Mother of God, Trojica, which is coming from Hillandar, new altar table, which Father Vasily referenced, and the throne to the Mother of God, the Trojica, which was also referenced in Father Vasily's presentation. Earlier in the fall was made apparent to us that the only thing lacking was a new bishop's throne, and it would be the only thing that it would be in our church that would not look like the iconostas, the pevnitsa, the stand, the small table for plummets. And so we added that to our beautification project, and our sisters, Kolosevskaya, immediately said we would like to help make that happen. And so in addition to all of you, some anonymous donors, and our Colo, we have either secured or pledged all of the funds necessary to cover everything in the first phase. As you see, the Pantocrator, we estimated originally $7,000. It actually came in at $10,500. The unexpected overage was due to scaffolding. And unfortunately, that's something we needed to have proper scaffolding for. That's not something that we could have borrowed. That's not something that we could have done ourselves. That is something we had to have professionally done. I saw firsthand what happens when you don't have it professionally done. I was in another church in our diocese where the scaffolding was not what it needed to be when frescoes were being installed, and some mistakes were made. And so we had to make sure that didn't happen here. In terms of the iconostas, the Trojica, altar table, bishop's throne, and the throne to the Mother of God, Like I said, most of the money has been raised, and if it hasn't been donated, it's been pledged. We will see these expenses hit in 2020. The amounts in the report are, or sorry, 2022. Thank you, Mio. You know, they all run together. The estimated cost are what the folks in Serbia estimated to us in March of this year, which I then converted to dollars because they quoted us in euros. The tricky part is that these folks want cash. They don't want us to wire their bank accounts, which would be so easy. It would be so easy. Instead, they want cash. That costs a little bit more because we're wiring dollars, which has to be converted to euros and then wired over. So we're paying a little bit on the exchange rate and a little bit on the transfer. So that's why it's important just to have some overage funds to cover these costs. You know, once these things arrive next year, there'll be some installation, there'll be the shipping cost. And I was informed last night, a generous anonymous donor wrote and has pledged to help with those costs. And for that, we're very grateful on behalf of Father Vasily and the trusteeship to those folks. Other than that, you know, I know that we've had the thermometer on the website, and in terms of the Trojica Mother of God, we were estimating 42,500. As of November 30th, we've raised 47,000 for the Trojica, and that does not include about 3 additional thousand of donations for that project that came in at the beginning of December. So thanks be to God, the Trojica will be here, God willing. It exceeds any expectation I would have had, and it's only thanks to God. And so, you know, for the next 2 or however many years we go on with this project, we'll be thinking of income as operational and beautification. On the beautification, I'll just say that any funds that are donated that aren't used for this phase will just be rolled over to the next phases, which there's no timeline at the moment for when that may happen, but the account will be there. And if funds are donated and they end up not being used in this phase, we have leftover funds, which should be a blessing. They'll just roll over to the next phases. A few trends and reminders, as I have done. We've worked a lot to cut costs as we can. We've worked on the mailing list. We've worked on replacing, 2 years ago, replacing the last 2 HVAC units upstairs, which had been band-aided every year. And through doing that, even though it was an expense at the time, our monthly electric bills have gone down 30 to 40%. We've seen less in repair cost. And so we've done about as much as we can in terms of trying to cut costs and trying to tighten our budget. And we're at a point now where basically we're running as minimum as we can in the expenses. We still have the mortgage, the utilities. Our dear friends in Montgomery County remind us that we're here with a nice little present twice a year. So, and we pay them, by the way, that's what I mean. So there are still things, there are things we just cannot cut. The other thing is, you know, we have seasonality here, you know, and folks go on vacation, and you know, those of you who are here in July and August, it's bare. You know, there are Sundays where there's 10 people in church. And what happens, and this is nothing new, this has happened every year. We see our money in the checking accounts go way down by, you know, the end of July, and then it's not replenished in August. And, you know, this year in September, had we really not come back to semi-full force, we would have not been able to meet some of our obligations, our monthly obligations. So it's important to remember that even when we're not here, when we're on vacation, that the church is still here, and we, you know, are still paying the electric bill, we're still paying the mortgage, we're still paying the taxes, we're still paying WSSC for the water. Also, a few other reminders. Amazon Smile is a great way to give back to the church. If you're shopping on Amazon, which I know most of us probably do, if you switch to smile.amazon.com, smile.amazon.com, Amazon donates a very small amount of your total purchase back to the church. We get that donation every quarter, and roughly it was $645 over the past year. It doesn't seem like much, but anything helps. You know, $645 covers the annual fat oil grease charge that we pay to WSSC every year. So see, things like that, they don't seem like they help, but they do. An interesting campaign that I realized was way more successful than I ever would have thought is the Facebook Day of Giving campaign. You may have seen, some of you may have even received an email from me a few weeks ago, that Facebook on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving here in the States, they will match up to $8 million total for the day, a portion of donations given to nonprofits. And so through that campaign last year in 2020, we raised $3,482 through donations and matches. I don't know the results for the campaign that happened a few weeks ago. We won't actually find that out until January, February. But again, something very easy that helped a lot for our church. And finally, employer matches. Some companies, mine actually does, and some others may. If they will match donations given to nonprofit organizations, some folks have done this, and I'll reiterate that if you need a letter or any documentation from me, I'm happy to furnish that for you. So in closing, I'll have to say 2021, it showed me, and I think it showed all of us, that we're resilient as a community, and we were able to continue to navigate through this. And I have to say thanks to each and every one of you for being here on Sundays, for helping, for participating in liturgical life, for participating in our events, for contributing, for being here now. Without each and every one of you, and I do mean each and every one of you, everybody, you know, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to maintain our church. We wouldn't be able to have our presence here in the DC area. So from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of Father Vasilia and our entire trusteeship, thank you, everybody, for all that you do for our parish. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Yes, Diana. Oh,
So first one comment, and that is that about 10 years ago, our budget was 120, but we never could get that when we were renting these schools. And now we're at 380. So that just, to me, gives a great picture how far we've gotten. So great pat on the back for all of us. So the question to you and to Milan and really to the whole board, which we've talked, but I just wanted to kind of bring it up.
Sure.
We talked about the sign on River Road. It happens twice, 3 times a year. Somebody new comes in, they go to the church next door. So have any thoughts have been given on the board and any progress?
Yeah. Building and Grounds is looking into this right now. Building and Grounds Committee is looking into it. We don't want to just put up some kind of a cheap sign or, you know, a festival type sign or something with fluorescent lights and, you know, looks like bingo every Monday. So we want to have something that's proper. And of course, in order to do that, we have to know what the zoning requirements are and, you know, putting in footers and whatnot. But it will be, when we do it, it will be the right kind of sign that we can be proud of. And it is being discussed at the meetings and investigated by the committee. So after Father Patrick raised the liturgy this summer when he was subbing and said, you people, this is the best kept secret. You got to get out there and tell people who you are. And that very next day, we had our trusteeship meeting. I put it on the agenda. We discussed it. We're moving that along. So, yes. Okay.
That's an opportunity. That's a possibility, you know. We can look after we get this phase completed if that makes sense. Personally, with this first phase, I'm viewing this as anything that needs to come from Serbia should get on the crate. And I mean,
Fill her up.
that's why the bishop's throne kind of made sense. The altar table, you know, we're renting this crate for the iconostas. I'm going to try to actually go to Serbia and get everything we need for the bookstore to also go in the crate. So I'm of the mindset anything that needs to come from Serbia should go in the crate. But you know, that's something I think we can definitely think about that sort of in early next year once we have a better sense of how everything else from the beautification, once we transfer those funds and see what's left over. Any other questions? Okay, well, if you do have any questions or at any other time you'd like to talk, you can see me after church, call me or email me, treasurer@svluca.org. Happy to talk anytime. Thank you all.
Excellent. Before I move on, there were a couple of things that I meant to say, and I wanted to just raise, and it's not written in the report, but you know, we did have a security breach several months ago where the cash box was broken into, some funds were stolen, and hence the new cash box that's up on the wall now. It's secured, 2 keys, you name it. It's strong. We're also looking into a security system. And the Building and Grounds Committee has that on and are actively working with a security company to make sure that we have, in terms of security cameras and also electronic locks. And we're also looking into an environmental system for the church as we get the icons in and everything else, so that they are protected. So this is on the list. It's being worked, and I just wanted to let you know that is actively being worked on. And I personally filed a report with Montgomery County Police Department on the break-in. There was some Nintendos were stolen out of a car 2 weeks ago. So that has been reported also. I don't know what's going on, but you know, we will, whatever it is, we will take those measures. And we want to make sure that we have the security system that will protect the investment in the beautification we're doing now. And it's not only the dollars and cents, but what they signify, that all of that is protected. So moving on, next on the report, I'm doing a little reordering. I'm going to move our audit report up, and Subdeacon Mio Lazatovich will present that. This is, we've traditionally, and hopefully we've always had the audit report at the end of the agenda. And it really does belong after the treasurer's report. So in future, it will be properly reflected in the agenda. So Mio, come on up.
Thank you very much, Milo. Thanks to all for being here and listening to the status of our parish. I'm very heartened by all the progress that I've made since I've been a member of this parish. We moved into this area, I guess, back in 1982. So needless to say, it's been a long time that we've actually had a chance to see what's going on, how we've grown as a parish and as a family. So we can move on from there. The mandatory stuff of the audit report is basically by the Constitution, we have to have at least one, if not two, audit reports that are created throughout the year to look at the books and making sure that we are expending our funds, not only from a financial arithmetic standpoint, but also looking at whether our expenditures are in line with our charter and to the best interests of the church. With that in mind, from the arithmetic standpoint, we had a chance to go over the books. John so kindly hosted the session for Maria Adamich and myself. And we had an opportunity to go through, as we have in past years, to review what we think is a probably a more prudent approach towards verifying the arithmetic. I mean, the bank will always tell us when we're off. So the real thing here is that we did a random selection of about 5 to 6 months this year of the audit. And number one, the arithmetic was correct. Everything was in line with what we saw. That was not only in the TASA balance sheets that were collected every week as it was accounted, but then they matched the deposits that were made to our banks, John Marshall, I believe United also, making sure that everything was copacetic. In that regard, since we did the audit in November, we didn't have a complete set of books for the month of November, but what we did see in the reports and deposits and everything else, it looked very good. We saw along the way that this is trending. It also matched what was in QuickBooks, so our accounting was well done, and it's all done in accordance with best practices for accounting. Our review also revealed that the overall income, credits, and debits at the end of the year through October 2021 generally met or exceeded expenses, debits, and the ledgers were accurate in their accounting. I say generally only because you've already heard John talk about the summer months, and I'll get into that in a little bit. In essence, what I'm seeing here is that all the operational funds, they have in fact winnowed them down to as slim as they can get them. They've looked at how we can actually improve the efficiency of our HVAC systems and everything else to see if there's a way that we can reduce our maintenance costs and actually extend the life of those units, making sure that we also reduce the amount of our costs as far as electrical billing and that kind of thing. So kudos to them for doing such a fine job and being able to really make this place run efficiently. From the board actions from last year to reduce those operating costs, in line with that, we've seen as an example, John mentioned our mailing costs. We were inundated with sending return notices from our mailing that we sent out to former parishioners who were in other places, and that costs money. So not only from the printing standpoint, but also mailing and the return mail costs. So we've cleaned up the books on who's really here, and that's come out to be a very, very fine way of tailoring it down. In addition, we've also seen the automatic debiting of people's accounts for their donations as opposed to mailing envelopes, and that's actually even further reduced the cost of the mailing envelopes to send those out. We've also seen some improvement on paying back some of our backlog billing. We saw that as an example, our diocesan assessment that has been frozen for some time, that we've actually started paying some of that back and knocking down that backlog. And I think that's a good step in the right direction, not only from the standpoint of making sure that we pay our bills, but it's also a way of reassuring the diocese that we are a good member and standing of the diocese, and that we are actually participating just like any other parish. And they've been very patient with us, especially as we've gone through the refinancing and everything else to make this place a wonderful home for us all in terms of worship. In that regard, also, we looked at all the other ancillary accounts that are for the folklore group, the sisters, everybody else along the way, all the other ministries that we have here. And we found that they are basically self-sustaining operations from a financial standpoint. I hate to put it in those terms, but in essence, in addition to the wonderful support that they provide this parish from a cultural, from a spiritual standpoint, they are paying for themselves. And that is wonderful, because what that's telling me is that people are participating, they're not being subsidized, they're actually willing to support this parish in those ministries. And it's coming out where I think we can actually grow not only these individual ministries, but also ministries of other sorts as people come up with ideas. With the thought in mind is that we plan ahead to making sure that they are self-sustaining activities. Okay. One thing we noticed, and John brought this up, and that is the generosity of this parish is unequaled, is what I've seen, not only from the beautification project standpoint, but whenever something is needed around here, people have stepped up and donated money to help offset and defray costs. And that includes anything from a broken HVAC unit to trying to get some of our lighting repaired or something around here. And I'm sure as we come along looking at this security project, that's going to be another thing that people are going to step up and help take care of our parish, especially as the beautification project comes along. We need to protect the value of those relics and icons. And it's something we just cannot forsake and have something go wrong with that. With that in mind, we noted that the last half of June through the month of August, that even though we've done some marvelous strides forward in bringing up our revenue through fundraising events such as SerbFest, such as the Slava, such as Saint Sava, and some of the other events that have actually brought in revenue. On the other side of that, when everybody goes on vacation in June, July, and August, we depend on that surplus to keep this place open and pay our bills. And as John noted, we came very close to not paying our bills had we not had the fundraising in September and October to bring this forward. I wish to encourage our parishioners that when they go on vacation, I personally do this myself, and I hope that that sets an example, that I put the money ahead that I was to donate for the month, and I donated at the beginning before I leave. That way, that donation continues to serve the operating funds of this parish, and it keeps us in the black as far as the books are concerned. We pay our bills, we make sure that our credit ratings are still maintained. Our bank accounts and our bankers are very happy and healthy because of that. And they're very thankful that some of us come together like this. I encourage everyone, please, to think about that when you go on vacation this upcoming summer, and keep that thought in mind, if you can, to donate in advance prior to departure so that we can in fact keep the books healthy. It's not just me pounding the table for money. That does no good. It's not the issue of we want you to give more money. We just want to be able to pay our bills and keep the doors open. That's it. Okay. We also reviewed special events, like I said, and my credit to my hats off to the organizing committees of here. They have learned how to streamline the operation. And there's only one or two things that we saw that might be of benefit to us. We're paying money for storage containers back here that could, in fact, if we just bought them, would probably reduce our costs of the storage fees. And that way, I think that we can actually make it go forward. The other practice I think would be of benefit to us As a older person, I've learned in my life is that when we have a surplus, it's a good thing to be able to pay down your mortgage in advance a little bit more in the principal only, as opposed to paying the bank their interest, and being able to pay just that much more. It doesn't seem like a lot when you do $1,000 a month or something like that, when you're able to do that. But if we can afford it, that extra money goes a long ways of reducing our mortgage in the out years. And that would actually help us pay off our loans sooner. That's why I'm debt free on my house now. It's the same reason, for that very reason. Okay. And it's just, I think a sound financial practice is that we pay ourselves first as a parish, and then we pay other things. Just a thought. Finally, we continue to encourage others in our community to join in and pledge support to help the Serbian Orthodox Church grow and meet their collective spiritual needs and our faith. Now more than ever, our faith has sustained us through this pandemic. We're coming together as a church and keeping our church and financial picture healthy as well as each other, building upon the progress that we've made in building our culture, our faith, our ability to leave a legacy to our children and to enjoy now and in the future. We call your Orthodox friends and family and join us to help us to build a stronger and larger worship community. Reach out. There are always new immigrants that come into the area. Invite them in. Start them with a little bit of church. Invite them to the social events if they're a little hesitant about church. Have them meet the people of this parish. Honestly, in the last years, and I attribute this partially to Father Vasili's leadership as a wonderful spiritual guide of how we can actually treat each other with respect, love, and charity, and bring ourselves to invite others to participate in that family tradition of health and charity. This is, I think, that we would be able to grow as a parish. We do get marriages, we do get births, and that just allows us to spread our culture, our faith as far as we can and move forward as a church community. Thank you so much.
Any questions for Neil? All right. Neil, thank you very much. You and Muddy always do an excellent job and a very thorough job on auditing. Moving along, Dan, would you like to present anything for the candle shop? Okay. No. All right. And
Am I on video? Am I?
you-
So make
you're being
sure,
broadcast,
make
yes.
sure you like it here and subscribe here.
Place your candle orders here.
Oh, yes, I have to give my thanks to general sponsors to Candle Shop. Main sponsor is Mother of God, and co-sponsor is Great Mother St. George. And of course, Jesus Christ himself. Tomorrow we have a special sponsor. It's St. Andrew, the first called. He will help us tomorrow after the service to make some candles. We make candles. Our goal is to acquire technology to actually be able to produce enough for 40 plus churches in Eastern Diocese and maybe even for the whole America, and make some profit for the church to go down whatever needs we need, pay down the mortgage or building that storage facility or the sign or beautification. We have plenty of ways to spend money. I did write a report. I will just go over some numbers, I think. If you go to page, I'm just kidding. So we went up from 13,000 to 14,000 candles this year. The little ones, you know, that we light. So that tells us that either the attendance is more or there's more people or that we're doing something good. Slava candles went down, but I think it's because last year I might have made an extra batch that I didn't this year. These numbers don't mean much. So what I did, I put together all these candles and to see how much wick was used. So that's like 2.2 miles of wicks. That's like from here to that flea market over there, whatever they had at. So hopefully next year we will be able to have capacity to build enough candles, to make enough candles for all the churches, and that'll be stretching all the way to Beltway and back. Any questions? I'll take first Zoom and then from the floor. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you for your
You're
hard work
welcome.
and dedication. I mean, that really is a labor of love, and God willing, we'll be able to go forward. You know, one of the other things I do want to add, Dan's talking about building and everything. The Building and Grounds Committee is also looking at, they have some preliminary drawings. We're looking now to build a separate storage facility where the candle shop could be. That can be, we all know it will be costly. We don't know how costly. So the best way to know how to proceed in the future is to know what you want and what you're going to have. So we're looking at doing these plans and then pricing it and then seeing what the cost of it will be. And it may be started, you know, in 2 months, 2 years, whatever. But at least we know what it'll cost us to go forward and in addressing our needs. Next, I want to call on Dessa Elwell to come up and provide remarks on the Sunday school and religious education of our St. Luke Parish.
I'd like to thank Father Milan and the trusteeship for supporting the religious education program and me and the teachers. During the pandemic, we were at an all virtual format. We had about 20 families, 2 of which were from Canada that joined us. So we had 4 students from Canada. For this school year, for the 2022 school year, we are back in person. And I've had to step back because I've taken a teaching position with Fairfax County High School. And that's taking a lot of my time. But we have, John is still doing the upper grades. Joyce is doing the middle schoolers. Natalie, combined with Dan, are doing the elementary. So Natalie is temporarily on maternity leave. So Joyce and Dan have been taking care of those students. Like I said, we wouldn't have the Sunday school religious education program without the support of Father Vasilia, the parish, the trusteeship, and the families that bring our kids. Any questions?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, for not only the report, but for all the work that you've done through the years with the Sunday school. And while you've taken on this new career endeavor, she didn't walk out. She's still very much engaged in the religious education of the parish. So thank you, Dessa. Next on the list is Lira and the children's choir. That would be Protanica Jelena, who is now involved with a Christmas concert at National Cathedral. It's a choral group that she belongs to professionally. So she did a written report for both Lira and the children's choir. Overall, you've seen, we've kept the church choir together. We didn't rehearse over the years because from 20 and early parts of 21 because of COVID. We've started rehearsing again, and we will continue in very strong, in full session so that we can rehearse all of the special songs needed for the Christmas services that will be coming up. So we'll be ready for that. We've gone from a very few number of singers to quartets, to sextets, to octets. And so the numbers vary. You see us singing up front. We're trying to keep still play it safe, singing with the masks, but we are singing and the numbers are growing. And I think as the choir rehearsals continue, we will get our full choir back. Protanis is incredible. She could get a beautiful tone out of a rock. She is incredibly talented. So we're fortunate and blessed to have her. The children's choir, they have been rehearsing again on Friday evenings. They were doing it virtually during the earlier part of the past year. They did Saint Saba. They sang some songs virtually for the virtual Saint Saba celebration, and they met in through Zoom. They were able to stay together. So while we zoomed along, we remained connected, which was very, very important. So that said, the next, Nina, your entry is absolutely perfect. So anyways, and Protanica also told me if anybody had any questions on the choirs, please don't hesitate to call, email, or stop her after church. Next, I'd like to call on the president of the Colo, Nina. Would you like to say a few words to the group on the workings of the Colo during the past year? Come on up here. Yes, you're yay. I'll tell you what, the Colo, it's such a dynamic group, and they're, I mean, the amount of support that they give this parish is
That's
income.
Zoom, right? I have no makeup, I have no lipstick. You
You know what? The natural beauty just comes, just flourishes. That's it.
No.
And all you have to do is look at that proud look on Slavko's face. There's all the beauty. Come on.
Okay.
All right. 2 minutes or 30 seconds.
Na Zoom sam, yeah, okay. Well, I have a tendency to talk forever. Anyway.
We'll catch me up a hook.
Ja samo da poručim mojim sestrama i braći Srbima da dođu, da imaju svoju crkvu, da imaju da se okupe, da imaju svoju parohiju. Da li su vernici ili nisu vernici, posle 50 godina, šta god da se desilo s nama, braćo Srbi, imamo svoju tradiciju, istoriju. Dođite, ovde je Božja kuća, dođite među svojima, dovedite decu. A ja lično šta god radim zbog sebe. Ja sam Kosovka i ja se osjećam da je ovo moj drugi dom. I toliko, i meni ne treba da budete zahvalni, ja sam zahvalna Bogu što smo kroz sve one burne godine prošli, ja i moja porodica, i zahvaljujući Bogu ostali živi i čiste duše, a meni je mesto ovde, a dođite svi, toliko, ja vas pozdravljam.
A real beauty. Even her words are beautiful. Thanks, Nina. And all that you and Nicola do. I looked out there. I don't have anybody from Serbian school to offer anything. So if they want to, and there's no one on the Zoom, but the report is provided, it is attached, and it is in the report package. And there's also one for the dance group, Prila, that was submitted by Radmila Vojsic, who is the instructor and choreographer of that group. That's, and getting these young kids dancing, and when they're adults, they'll be like Zoran in the senior group dancing. So the other report that was submitted in writing is from the youth group ZMI. And they have met and kept together during the same period. They did have a fundraiser for the parish. And actually the funds went towards the Trojirujice. It was a 2-day, there was a tennis match and clinic, and then they had some other activities on Sunday after liturgy. And total, everything that they brought in was donated to the fund. So we thank them and their dedication to the church and interest in helping serve. That brings us to the end. The next would be what Mio already did at the beginning. So I don't want to hold everybody a whole lot longer. And I want to thank everybody for being here. But if you have any other questions or you have any suggestions, my original offer is, grab a hold of me or some member of the trusteeship any Sunday after liturgy. And we can, see, look at that. There it is. Coley, she gave me money from the donations from lunch today. So that'll go in. And the trusteeship will will have their regular monthly meeting tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. So we're continuing we're here to work. And I thank everybody. And I know this thank you comes from all the members of the trusteeship. You're all great. And we look forward to working together. And we really do have a great family. So thank you. As we close, we should say a prayer. John, would you like to, and Dayan, would you like to? Yes, okay. Yep. Okay. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Thank you.